You are now listening to For All Nerds Show, a podcast about geek and pop culture from the perspective of people of color. For All Nerds is hosted by DJ Benhameen and Tatiana King Jones. For All Nerds Show is a member of the Loudspeakers Network, where we always say rest in peace to our founder, Combat Jack.
For All Nerds Show is powered by our listeners. Everything we do, from our podcasts, live events, our website, are all independently funded. Please continue to support us through our Patreon page at patreon.com/forallnerds.
Welcome to the Fan Bros, the show where the bros are fans. Doodle.
And what's up, y'all? And welcome back to another episode of the legendary For All Nerds Show. The voice of the urban geek, the podcast where we discuss geek culture from the perspective of people of color.
Geek and pop culture.
You know it.
We
and
talk
we're
about
back.
it all.
And sitting in the captain's chair, it's your boy, DJ Benhameen, a.k.a. Halal Jordan, Briss Blairmont, Cal L. Bundy, Dot Pilgrim, Bid Fetch, De La Troll, Blart Bent, Buzz Ouchie, Method Man Splaining, Meat Millhouse, LeBron Shame, here in the spaceship tonight. And as always,
Wow.
welcome back to my co-host,
Tatiana King, a.k.a. the Grand Duchess of Tech, a.k.a. Flex Luthor, Ned Slanders, Sean Jean-Luc Picard, Lambo Calrissian, Doc Aki, he who cannot be shamed, and the Ting of the North.
Yeah, I guess I should throw in my NBA young boy, Never Blipped Again.
Yes, that is, again, P.S. Des Resistance.
Thank you.
Beautiful. I love it.
Thank you very much. But as you hear, as you see on twitch.tv/forallnerds, we are back. For All Nerds, as some call it, the main show, the spaceship, the originator, the one that started it all, is back. We're here. We got some changes, though. We gonna let you know off bat. But first of all, thank you. Happy New Year. Happy Lunar New Year. Happy Orthodox New Year. Happy Orthodox Merry Christmas. All that. Actually, it's not Orthodox New Year just yet, but it is Orthodox Christmas. So, Merry Christmas to all y'all out there for that. And, we back.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Welcome back, everybody. Shout out to everyone who's been with us from 2021, from 2020 and before, and to the new people who are joining us. Like, we're wild excited that we're back. I know everyone's been asking what's happening. Are y'all coming back? The streets is hungry. What's going on? We had to, as Ben said, we had to put our heads together and make some good changes to the podcast, which we're going to get right into.
Yes.
Now?
Yeah, right away. And basically, For All Nerds will continue with our main show with the spaceship that you know and love. But we're going to do things a little differently now. Instead of just covering every little bit of news that comes out, this trailer dropped, this dropped, blah, blah. We're going to focus on certain topics as we have one for tonight. Discuss it for a little bit, give it our usual in-depth thoughts and jokes and feelings, everything that you're used to from the For All Nerds on these topics. Then do some guac questions, our Geekquently Asked Questions, where we listen to our viewers, our listeners, and get all the questions from them. And then I think that's the show, right? Yeah.
Because we are, and we're in a bit of a stage of experimentation as well, because we're seeing what works best for the show. We see what people really love to hear. And from the feedback you've provided us, you enjoy when we really break down and analyze different things happening within the culture, within geek culture, pop culture, and intersections therein. So as Ben said, we are going to generally speaking, most of the shows that you listen to is going to be just based around one particular topic that we're going to do like a deep dive into and have our back and forth with it. And there are going to be guac questions. So that's the change that I mentioned. That's going to be changing format. What's not going to change is we still going to ask you for guac questions all the time. We are still going to also, we're actually probably going to ask you all if you have topic suggestions. While we generally will always have our own, we're also interested in what you all may want us to speak on.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely still feel free to do that. Shout out to the Patreon fam who have been holding us down forever and a day. Thank you, because you are helping to get us more growth. You're helping us evolve as we're doing now, and just make sure that we're positioning For All Nerds in a way that will help us continue through the future. Another change is you're not going to hear For All Nerds every single week, and there's a few reasons for that. One, because we're also why the one is because we're also still doing views from the 616. As you can imagine, also maybe if you recall that we explained in previous episodes, doing views every single week that a Marvel show, Disney Plus show is out, it takes a lot of time and effort and work. And unfortunately, we don't have an infinite amount of time, and we have a lot of other things going on. I still have a day job. So because of that, we have to balance things out the right way. So that's why we are definitely going to have at least 2 of the main shows a month. You'll still also get cool things like interviews, like if we have some special creators or creatives or just people who could come in through, we're definitely still going to have those as well. And we're going to fit those within the months. And of course, when there are Disney Plus shows happening that we're covering, you're still going to get your views, your weekly views show. So that's not going to change. But like I said, we wanted to do this because we wanted to really have more clear focus on how we're delivering content to you, and at the same time balance it out with our own personal lives so that it makes sense for everybody.
And also, we want to get our listeners to let us know if they are feeling this. We probably are not going to go back immediately to doing the show the way it was before, but we do want to know how y'all feeling, if you enjoy this format, if not, are there any other changes that you would like to see in the show or more things that you would like to hear? I know that a lot of people are going to be like, yo, what's up with Comments I Copped? What's up with TED Talk with Tatiana? And we gonna figure that out.
We're gonna figure it out, right? That we may still mention it here and there, but they're not gonna be full. I'll tell y'all right now that Tech Talk with Tatiana is not coming back as its own as a segment within this show. If I do it, it would be his own thing, his own entity, separate from all of this. So that's one thing, okay? And but besides the podcasting stuff, nothing else really changing, right?
Yep.
Like we're still doing our TikToks and our videos and Instagram and all the social media work that we do. Shout out to Chica, we love you. And of course, you're still gonna get the flavor, the crispness of the work of the legendary Luna, who is still going to be engineering the out of our show. So a lot of stuff not changing just in terms of quality, in terms of great content. That's still happening. The only thing is changing again is just how it's being delivered to you. But that being said, we do think that more focus will also increase the quality of what we're talking about.
We shall see. And also, you can make sure to follow us on all of our various platforms that we were talking about before. Of course, if you want to hear the show, we're on SoundCloud, we're on Spotify. We're on any major dope podcast platform. If you're on Apple Podcasts, we on there. Just search For All Nerds, hit the follow button. That way you'll get views from the 616. You'll get For All Nerds. And of course, because for those who are already following on twitch.tv/forallnerds, you have seen the increase. I got this ish popping right now. Let me tell you, I'm so happy. It's been years in the making, but things is looking right. Things is looking crisp. So you're going to see some more DJ sets, some more gaming, some more live shows, all that different stuff. Make sure you are following us, twitch.tv/forallnerds, because we're also figuring what time of the day we going to be dropping these shows. Normally we've been dropping them in the afternoon, but we might move to the evening. We're figuring things out. Make sure you're following on all the social medias, of course, at For All Nerds everywhere. That being said, we do have a topic for tonight that we need to discuss. Something that, I don't know if it's been bothering us, but it's definitely something that, we've bounced around before and something that needs to be addressed, or at least, I don't know, put on the table, so that, I don't know if address is the right word, but
Well, something that needs to be discussed, because I don't think it gets discussed enough. And not to say that no one has talked about it, but like, I think it's a great in-depth conversation to have.
Yes.
And the conversation, and sorry for those who felt the type of way about the title, all right? This is just to get you in the door, the title of this show. But that's stuff that we ask each other. Why do they keep making this holy trinity of superhero films? And from Holy Trinity, we're talking about Batman, Superman, and Spider-Man. Why is it that if it seems, and I don't know if seems is even that accurate, it is. Why is it that we seem to get, yes, other superhero films, but no matter what, on schedule, every generation, we get, and sometimes 2-3 times within a generation, we get a Batman film, a Superman film, and a Spider-Man film. Why is that? Now, obviously, there's a lot of different ways we can go about this, different depths and different levels. But when I first brought this up to Benhameen, he had like one main explanation that I would love for you to just repeat here. Well, I'll give you one. Money. Ha ha ha. Money. Duh. But there was another, I think, more specific information that you or explanation that you provided, Ben. What was that?
Yeah, definitely. As far as the Holy Trinity that you mentioned, 2 of those are Batman and Superman. So those come from the DC world, right? So that's, they're also 2 of DC's biggest characters, but we'll get back to them. The third one is Spider-Man, and that's the special case out of the 3. And why we've seen so many Spider-Man films definitely has to do with money, but also due to the fact of how the deal of Sony has with Marvel Entertainment to license the Spider-Man character and to have the rights to the Spider-Man character and any other characters that are like even involved in the Spider-Man world peripherally, right? The way this deal works is that they have to make a movie within a certain amount of years. They have to keep making a Spider-Man film within a certain amount of years, or Marvel gets the rights back. So this is why you saw what happened with the original Spider-Man films with Tobey Maguire. There were 3 of them. There was actually plans for a 4th one with Sam Raimi still as the director, etc. Sony finally was like, yo, we're not feeling what you're doing, Sam. We want to go this way. They wanted to go that way. Wham, wham, wham. You're out of here. We'll bring in Andrew and reboot this shit real quick because we have to keep these rights. So we got to get this movie. That's why there was really not much of a gap between the Spider-Man franchise and then the Amazing Spider-Man franchise. And then even why they knocked out Amazing Spider-Man 2 just to keep it going and to keep the money rolling in. So
they're doing this as a giant game and keep away.
Yeah, pretty much. And at this point now they've established where, they're just got it. They are not giving it up. As you see, they just made $1 billion with No Way Home. Morbius is about to drop. Venom is making damn near $1 billion every time out. So they are not going to ever give this franchise back to Marvel. And Marvel's accepted that and they're just working together when they can. But that's the special case for Spider-Man.
Is there some type of profit share going on? Because they I mean, especially with the emergence of the multiverse, like they're working together and they've been working together for quite some time. So
yeah, especially
and they meaning Sony and Marvel. So
with the Spider-Man No Way Home, with the No Way Home films, there's definitely been profit sharing, and I think Marvel is still.
What about Avengers, like where Spider-Man shows up?
Oh no.
Or Infinity War, anything like that. Like, don't Sony don't get a small cut of that because you use Spider-Man. That's their property. No, I refuse to believe that they're not getting something.
This is why they're making Morbius, fam. Because they ain't getting like all that money from that, so they just don't keep it going. However, they got to keep it going. But the real question is, and this is something that pertains to another issue that we've been talking about on this show. Shout out to E-Man. We had him on to really discuss this issue, was the recasting of T'Challa, which both of us, for the most part, are kind of ambivalent about, but leaning more towards nah. I especially lean more towards whatever the filmmakers say they're going to do. I'm down with that. Let me see the film, and then I'll cast judgment on it. That's
how I feel.
That's just pretty much me. But my one, clause, whatever you want to call it, to that argument is the fact that they will never stop making Batman films. And with that being said, I'd be like, yo, recast T'Challa, because they will recast this white boy over and over and over again. And me personally, like, shout out to Matt Reeves. That's the director of the upcoming Batman film. He directed the last 2 Planet of the Apes joints in the trilogy. I really love the first one the most, but all 3 of them are solid ass films, really good movies.
Yeah.
And he's done other stuff, but I don't get like the overall just, oh my God, I can't wait for this Batman movie. I don't get it.
So, I have a lot to say about this, but since we're on Batman, let me ask you some questions. Are you even looking forward to the Robert Pattinson Batman? Battinson.
That's the Matt Reeves joint.
Yeah. Are you looking forward to this?
Yes, in the general sense that it's a movie about Batman and I like Batman. That's.
Do you like Batman, Ben? I mean, you felt differently about him over the years. Let's say you've been more enlightened about him over the years. But do you truly still like him?
No, I'm a huge fan of, like, any of these characters that I take apart. It's because I'm such a fan of them. Like, I go back with Batman to what's the first? It wasn't really like the year one. I like year one. It was really the Killing Joke back in the day. I can't lie. I don't really enjoy it like I used to enjoy it, but back in the day, I really enjoyed the Killing Joke, and I love Batman from then. But just Batman as a character throughout the different generations, and then like Grant Morrison, how he showed the whole history of Batman. I love all that ish. What my problem is that I feel like the Batman films, especially, besides Ben Affleck, who I kind of like, but even he leaned into it, or Snyder leaned into it, it's always got to be the dark version of Batman. Like, the comic book has had so many different versions of Batman, but the films just seem to focus on that dark. And then not only dark, they're like, yo, each one is like, I'm going to make it more real than the last one, for some reason. And Batman's a ridiculous, unrealistic character to me, and I think you should lean into that instead of trying to get away from that.
I find that interesting, Ben, because like if you look at the old school Batman, right? Like that's very goofy in many like.
Well, it depends on how old school you go, because at the beginning, Batman was shooting people and dropping them off planes and all kind of wild
well, I'm not
shit.
talking about that one.
Yeah,
but I'm talking about the ones where, relatively speaking, you look at it, how he's presented now versus then. There's a lot of goofiness and silliness that you're alluding to.
Yes.
But the thing about that is, I feel like people reject the silliness, the silly side of Batman. For example, if you remember things like in the 90s with like Batman Forever and shit like that, that's when they try to incorporate all of that. Like that was like the bridge between like the Adam West version and then now the more modern like Nolan version, right? Yep. Like that was the middle ground between two, where it was like kind of trying to get serious but not really. And I felt like and that has, while it's kind of like a cult classic now, that it had so much camp in it that a lot of people just rejected it outright. And then of course there's the now the lifelong jokes about the bat nipples and this and that that. And even like the way that the characters would talk in those versions of the series, like when you see like Mr. Freeze, Arnold Schwarzenegger, the way he was talking and the dialogue being used, it was all very goofy, kind of cringy at times, but also depending now because it's a cult classic, people are like, oh, that's classic, that's amazing, right? But at the time, people largely rejected that. Whereas 20 years ago, is it like 20 years now or 15? When you look at Nolan's Batman, that was almost immediately accepted, if not like just outright lauded for being so incredible. And because of that sheer like force of will of the success of that, to me, that's why they was like, oh, dark works. Let's get darker.
Yes.
Let's get harder, because everyone sees this guy as this brooding figure. And then entered into the age of Snyder, and then it got a little weird.
Yes. But you hit the nail on the head. That was exactly DC's, like, I don't want to say problem, because it did make them some money, whatever. But Nolan succeeded with Batman Begins, and I thought that movie was incredible. I think The Dark Knight's incredible. I think Dark Knight Rises is even incredible for what it is in its own way. And then he succeeded, and so they were like, all right, you and your brother are kind of in charge of this, and he championed Zack Snyder, and then, they all made Man of Steel together. That popped off, and then it was like, all right, Zack, you got the keys to the kingdom, do whatever you want. And Zack has a very specific view of superheroes that he says time and time again is heavily influenced by Watchmen. And as much as I enjoy his Watchmen film, I think it kind of completely misses the point of Watchmen.
Right.
And I think he just doesn't get what Watchmen is trying to say about superheroes. And then he also has his own personal views, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
And they're just, I think they're kind of conflicting with what DC is about, for the most part. It's especially the Justice League.
What is DC about?
The Justice League especially are about these archetypical heroes who are larger than life, who are godlike, heroes who represent the best of things. And like, I was tweeting about this the other day, and me and you always talk about this, because I know you'll be like, Superman is just some Boy Scout. And I think that's kind of, it's like how I feel about people with Batman. I feel like that's kind of missing the point about him. And or like saying that being a Boy Scout is bad. And someone else tweeted this the other day, and they said it so well, where they're like, people always want this fallen Superman, the injustice version of Superman, because if someone like that falls, it makes it easier for you to be like, I ain't gotta be shit, because if he ain't shit, then why would I be shit? And that's,
if the best of the best of us ain't shit, then why do I gotta stand up to anything?
And see, that's the thing. To me, Superman isn't the best of the best of us. And it's just like, it's the Jesus allegory. And that's the same thing. Like, my favorite version of Superman is probably the Grant Morrison All-Star Superman-ish. And one of my favorite pages of all of comic book time is when Superman hears this person on the phone talking to their therapist, and they're about to commit suicide. And Superman is battling some giant robot on the other side of Metropolis when he hears this. Going through all this, he hears the conversation, and then he flies over there, lands around the person, puts his arms around them, and is like, you're stronger than this, or something, So,
I've seen that panel with like the goth kid, or the emo kid.
And it's like, you're stronger than this, and sometimes I can't remember what the exact line is, and it's just one of the most beautiful things. But that's what Superman is, always the person who believes in us more than we believe in ourselves, and who thinks that because Superman is all powerful, but he sees us going through life every day and striving for better every day without being all powerful. So he sees us as the more powerful one.
Right. Well, once again, like, similar to Batman, but now in a different way, like, that idea has been subverted throughout the decades, because again, Superman started out as, and yes, a lot of people use the term Boy Scout. I just use that term because Lex Luthor says it. Yeah. To be very specific, not because I personally feel that way, but because that's what Lex says, and Lex is my dog. Yeah. But Superman, again, I wouldn't necessarily say goofy, but he was propaganda number one. He was used highly as a propaganda tool.
But then, also you gotta remember, like, that's the other thing. Like, at the very beginning of his shit, Superman was like an anti-union, fighting for the little man. Like, that's what his comics were about. Remember, his comics were created by two Jewish dudes. Like, that's the thing. Like, they were very anti-establishment.
That's fine. It's still propaganda. Like, depending on what side of the fence you're on. But
I mean, being anti-union and stuff like that and fighting for the little man is,
But nowadays we want union, so why would you want to be anti-union?
No, I mean anti, like, he was not. I'm sorry, I'm saying that wrong. Like, he is for the unions and fighting for the little man.
Pro-union.
Yeah, pro-union. Yeah.
Okay, because I was just like, I don't recall that. Okay.
Yeah, no, this is like very early Superman. Like, that's the thing. He was, before it went super big, He was definitely about. He was done by two Jewish dudes who were definitely about, fuck the establishment and all that.
All right. Well, let me finish my point, which will incorporate what you're saying.
Yep.
So my point was, in the past, he's been used in different ways. One, as a propaganda tool, from the government standpoint, right?
Yep.
Also, from what you're saying, as a man of the people, and that's when we dive back into what you explained when it was like he believes in humanity and is for the little man and the minority or whatever term you want to use.
Mm-hmm.
And in that way, those lofty thoughts and ways of moving in life are more colorful and more bright and airy. If you want to give it an adjective, like that's more light than what you're seeing now, which is the dark and brooding version of it. And again, this just could be and not even could. This is indicative of the age that we're living in, right? Where a lot of the stuff that in the past was deemed to be more positive and all that stuff is now given this air of being corny and being too righteous and, as you said, too Boy Scoutish. And because of that, people flipped it, or creators have flipped that on its head, and then you see things like injustice and all that, which I personally love, and we're talking about. I've always loved Injustice.
I know. I know.
But that idea of the darkness, pulling that robe of darkness over these characters that have, at least in the past, have traditionally been more light, and because once again you just had this point where people rejected the light and was like, I want the dark, and it worked, at least money wise, right? At least revenue wise, it's worked. And so what is the impetus that these studios and writers and everyone else has to go back?
Well, one, it hasn't worked nearly as well as Marvel. Like, if you stat the returns that Marvel has made versus the returns that DC has made, it ain't even close. And then when you look at a trilogy like the Captain America trilogy, which represents a Boy Scout type character, always good, always doing the right thing, it's one of Marvel's most successful and popular, critically acclaimed trilogies. So it's not like you can't do these type of films or these type of shows, whatever, with these characters. And that's something like, I get the appeal of Injustice, but to me it was always been like, oh, that's cute type-ish, and then keep it moving, because
like it's an alternate multiverse version.
Yeah, and I need to see it once. I don't need to see it like continued over and over again, because that's not the core of what these characters are about, and it's really missing the chance to tell great stories like Batman, the Justice League cartoon, the Superman cartoon. All got these so right for years on end, and it just
I mean, those are the ones, like, to what Ben's saying, if you want to know what I guess the traditional core of these characters are, watch the Justice League animation.
Yes, it's one of my favorite things. Justice League Unlimited is one of my favorite things ever made of all time. It's just so good. But back to, we are getting off track a little bit of our main point. But one thing I did want to point out, because you were talking about how, it seems like dark is the way to go. And that's just a big problem I have right now, is that people just seem to, I feel it's the easy way out. It's always easy to be like,
yeah,
okay, well, what if Superman was evil? Because it's hard to write a very powerful, good person. But it's easier to write the evil version of that. That's simple to me. And so that's why I feel like people need to strive for better. But back to our main point that we were talking about, it also ties into that. It's like, that's why I don't really care. I mean, I'll go to see it. We'll talk about it on the show. But when I see the trailer for Batman and he's walking up on some thug or some person, I don't want to call him a thug, some person, and punching him in the face 9, 10, 12, 13 times, it does not really do much for me. Nah. It feels a little close to home.
Yeah. Even though it sounds like everything we're talking about really is towards the question, the answer to the question of why do they keep making these films?
Yes, because they could do a lot of other characters.
These and again, right now we're kind of mainly harping on Batman and Superman, but like they, at the most basic common denominator, each of them represent very core values, right? Of an archetypal character, as you mentioned before. And those are just easy lanes to start in because, I mean, more creative minds would come up with, different ways to express this. But as far as why they are being expressed in the way that they're being expressed, it's because darkness has won, right? Darkness has ensued. And that's why we're still getting this over and over and over again. And that's, again, I'm just trying to understand, at what point do we not want the darkness anymore? Is it just because it's just reflective of the state we're in socially, or is it something else?
It's because but I feel like art creates life, etc. Art reflects life, etc. And I just wish people would strive for more because there's just so much more to these characters, especially someone like Batman. Like recently, even in comics, like we don't even have to go back that far. Recently in the Grant Morrison run, Batman gets shot by Darkseid's Omega beams and sent back in time, where at one point he's a caveman who's also Batman. Like there's like so many weird stories you can do and so much more than just Batman punches out some criminals again. It's so that part of it. And sadly, DC's like most profitable characters right now are Batman and the Joker. Like that's across all their mediums. Probably right behind them is Harley Quinn. With all of these characters, their biggest sellers are the ones with like mental
reflective of what's going on in society. And I'm talking about Western society right now.
Yes, or is it that's what they promote so much and thus people buy it? Like, I always go back to the analogy from the Spike Lee Malcolm X film when, not Farrakhan, when Elijah Muhammad is speaking to Malcolm and he says, the people will drink dirty water until you give them the clean one. Like if you keep giving them dirty water, that's all they know.
Ben, there's another part of this that your friendly neighborhood Chica, our social media manager, actually came up with this note, and she's dead ass correct. The reboots or the consistent reboots of these characters is also in many ways the reestablishment of like that white man savior trope for every new generation. And when she said that, I was just like, and different age brackets specifically were her words. But when she said that, I was like, God damn, she's right. Because my thing is, and I'm not saying, they have to be recast as other ethnicities, but I'm just saying this is the same type of white man with the same type of stories. And, you mentioned that, just the fact that it seems to be like the same thing over and over again. We all see that it's kind of the same thing over and over again. And there's no true creative differences, maybe tonal differences in different ways, but it's the same approach, at least what we've seen in the last 15 plus years. So what is that about?
Oh, I fully agree with what Chica was saying. I think it's not exactly the white savior. The white savior, at least historically, is usually meant when, there's a bunch of black kids going to the school and then the white person comes in and teaches them all how to Dougie and they, save the world.
Not the Dougie.
Save the last dance, whatever. Anyway, what she really is right on point about is the fact that they are reestablishing the toxicness and the supremacy and something that I like to call
supremacy.
Yeah, like what I like to call white boy fuel, right? And that was my big problem with Joker. And that's my big problem with Batman, right? You have people like Kyle Rittenhouse being vigilantes. And then you have films like Batman featuring vigilantes. And then you have films like Joker featuring people going out and just doing whatever, because the system's holding me down. Now I'm going to go out and shoot people.
It's the purge.
Yeah, now it's purge time because I couldn't get, a date with my psychiatrist. Like, no, it's fam, like we go through much worse every day, and don't go up and shoot it up the dance. But that's my problem, because when you have media that encourages or reinforces the ideas of these behaviors, sometimes this is the result, and you might not see the results of a film like Joker, even though I think with like how Rittenhouse, you've seen it already, but I think you might not see the results of this for 5-10 years until people who grew up on this type of media are of age where they can cause the type of incidents like, that ass jackass, monster did.
Damn. Yeah. And because we're wrapping up this particular discussion, I just want to talk to just everybody listening, whether you're a new listener, longtime listener, be very, very understanding. The way Ben and I operate, we have these discussions to analyze and understand the entertainment we're consuming, and also to ask the questions that really need to be asked and understand what's going on in the world. This is not tearing apart your favorite character, TM. Like, this is not what we're doing. This is not saying and I don't know, Ben's making faces because he might
some of that.
He might feel sometimes he might feel differently sometimes.
Sometimes I'm doing that.
But I just want to make it clear, like, when people have debates or conversations, especially on this show, we're not saying, oh, you're terrible, and unless we say outright, you're terrible. I think we are very direct. If we want to say somebody or something is trash, we're going to just say that. Otherwise, it is a creative debate, maybe an intellectual debate, maybe, a topical debate. But like the point is that we want to talk and understand what we're watching, what we're listening to, what we're consuming, what we are creating, because you want to know how that impacts society. You want to know how that impacts people's psyches and stuff like that. So that's why we're having these types of conversations, and why I actually really love this question when it came up.
Yeah, and definitely, because something I said earlier about how Superman was created to defend the little guy, at the same time, just like you said, Superman is a huge source of propaganda because he's this super uber white man, and it's...
Yeah. That being said, I love Henry Cavill's Superman. I don't care what y'all say. I still like Man of Steel. I don't care what y'all say.
I do too, for the most part.
I've always and will forever fuck with Nolan's Batman. I don't care what y'all say. You know what I'm saying?
For the most part, I do too.
But there's also going to just be stuff about all these characters that I'm going to question or I don't like or whatever. To answer that question I proposed to you about Battington, I don't really care. It's same old to me. Am I going to watch it? Yes, that's my job. Am I jumping, chomping at the bit to go watch? Not really.
No, not at all. But we'll see and we'll check it out, and we will have much more on this and many other subjects in the weeks to come, as always, on For All Nerds. But for now, we're going to wrap this up and we're going to take a quick break, and we will be right back with more of the show.
Hi, I'm Professor Brandon Obunu, a scientist who studies genetics and epidemics, and when I'm not doing long division, I'm listening to For All Nerds.
Hey yo, this is Danny Lore, and this is Vida Ayala, and we are Twin Speaks. And when we are not writing Ironheart or James Bond, we are listening to For All Nerds.
Hi, my name's Genevieve King, and I play Jackie Veda on Netflix's Lock and Key. When I'm not cooking up new recipes in my kitchen, then I'm listening to For All Nerds.
Hey everybody, this is Peter Ramsey. I am the director of Rise of the Guardians and one of the directors of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. And I like to listen to For All Nerds with Tatiana and the great Benhameen.
Hey, this is Hiro Kanagawa, actor and playwright, and you are listening to For All Nerds all the way.
Hi, this is Lexi Alexander, and I'm a filmmaker and a writer, and when I'm not playing with my vintage toys and feeding myself and my dog, then I'm listening to For All Nerds.
Hey, what's up? This is Ato Asado, and when I'm not on television and movie sets, I am listening to For All Nerds.
Welcome back, and thank you for joining us on this episode of the For All Nerds Show. As always, make sure you are following us or subscribed on all your major platforms out there, like SoundCloud, like Spotify, like iTunes. leave a 5-star rating, leave a comment, tell everyone how much you love For All Nerds Show. Then head over to youtube.tv/forallnerds where you can get the goods visually. All of these joints, all of our shows, all of our live streams are cataloged there. So make sure you head over to YouTube, search for All Nerds, hit the follow. You know us, you love us. Then one last one, twitch.tv/forallnerds where you can catch us live, usually every Monday and Thursday. Right now, every Thursday, time to be determined. We gonna figure it out. We'll let y'all know because you're following us on all the socials at For All Nerds. That's Twitter, that's TikTok, that's Instagram. Did I miss any? I don't think so.
Social media at large.
At large, pretty much. Hit at For All Nerds and hit follow on all those joints. That way you can keep up on everything that is happening with the conglomerate, with the massive.
Yes. And make sure to follow Views from 616 for everything Marvel focused and especially Marvel Disney Plus items. That's all on there.
Yeah. And you might as well go ahead and follow the Safe Negro Pod because there's some things, we know that Lovecraft Country, rest in peace, is probably not coming back at this point. But I've seen some other shows that, fit into that Safe Negro Pod lane. And while you're there, why?
So that means you got to follow Castle Black too.
That's what I was about to say,
Yeah.
While you're there.
Game of Thrones coming back in different ways, but Game of Thrones coming back.
So Castle Black will be right there. And I know a lot of people have been asking, I'm kind of glad we ain't do no Star Wars right now because Book of Boba Fett.
Ooh, it's looking clipped for that.
I mean, it's had its moments, You ain't seen the latest episode today, right?
I haven't, but I heard everyone is cool with it. But
I mean, I was cool with it, but these niggas was like, fuck it, boy. I'm telling you, I ain't never seen a writer's room, some other than Power be like, fuck it, and still make an entertaining ass show. That's all I'll say. But they are definitely fuck it. Look, hey, Power is one of my favorite shows of all time. Shout out to 50 Cent, Greenlight Gang. All right. Let's get into this though, because this is the other part of our new format. The Geekquently Asked Questions. The guac is extra for all the new listeners, all the new viewers. This is where we answer listener questions. You heard that right. Geekquently Asked Questions. The guac is extra. You can be one of the few, the proud, the many to ask your question. Hit us up. Contact at forallnerds.com or hit us up on the Twitters, on the Instagrams with your questions at For All Nerds. Ask away on the Patreons. We ain't even mentioned that address yet, so let's do that right now. Patreon.com/forallnerds, where you can support. And thank you to everyone who is in 2022. I promise you we gonna bring you some more exclusives over there. Promise you that somehow, some way. But right now,
they're coming. In fact, they're gonna be coming this week.
Oh, okay. I ain't even know it.
You got some free stuff coming our way.
They made drinks to drink. We drunk them, got drunk. Yes, but for now, let's get to these questions. Thank you to everyone who sent in their questions for this returning episode. And, let's get right to them. What do we have up tonight?
All right. The first guac question comes from Rod from The Black Guy Who Tips. What up, Rob? Big fam for the fam.
Mm-hmm.
Rod writes, should The Batman be day and date on HBO Max or stay theater exclusive?
Lord have mercy. I wish it was HBO Max, fam. Oh my God. I'd have my feet up. I
super wish.
Roll up.
Super wish.
Get some drink up in here. Oh, that'd be so, man.
Yeah. I mean, just from a sheer comfort perspective,
yes.
As Benhameen said, as a sheer, what's the other word when things are just easy? It's just
make it copacetic. Copacetic. I can never pronounce that one.
No, but of course you would make something so complex. But it's just from a sheer just ease standpoint, I would love for it to just be on HBO Max and call it a day. of course, though, you're going to continuously get the screaming heads of, it's meant for theater. You need to see it on a screen. And here's my thing. I say that not to say that the theaters are not important. They are still important. I still think the theater going experience is important. I still think seeing, especially films that are shot for that and really utilize it, I still think seeing things in like IMAX is incredible. I still believe in that. So I would love for it to be on HBO Max at the same day. It's staying theater exclusive. That's what they choose. Do know that you're going to exclude a good number of people. You're going to exclude people who, for physical health reasons, they cannot or will not go to the theater. For people who just, like I mentioned, just for comfort reasons, they're like, why am I going to the theater? I don't personally feel comfortable or, physically feel comfortable, whatever the case may be. And there's going to be a subset of people. Yes, millions of dollars worth of subset of people who just decides, fuck it, I'm going. I myself have gone to the theater several times in the last year. Have I gone as much as I had in the past? No, but yes, I have gone. And my thing is that is the choice, or that's the chance you take. But that's because I have the privilege of taking chances. A lot of people don't. That's how I feel.
Yeah, just to quickly add on to that, I got super sick watching Spider-Man No Way Home at a credit screening because there was a dude coughing and sneezing down row from me, and that was like the first time in the last 2 years that I've gotten, I suspect that I probably had the Omicron or whatever because I was hammered.
Damn.
Yeah, so I'm good. Like, I think this is going to do well, but I don't think it's going to do Spider-Man numbers or near that type of shit. And so I will probably, even a credit screening, I really just, I'm going to have to wait on this one.
And that's what I'm saying. Like I saw Spider-Man, I saw Spider-Man in theaters, and like I said, because I had the privilege to take that chance. I didn't see it at a critics thing. I saw it with the general public, like everybody else, and thankfully, I was good. I also had the mask on the entire time, so
I did too. Yeah,
and a lot of people in my theater happen to, but that doesn't, as you see, that doesn't necessarily stop things. Mm. So, and some people also don't care about others, so that's why I'm like, I just really despise when people are like, it must be seen in theaters, and how dare you see it on your big screen? Mind you, my big screen is like 70-inch, so what are you talking about? Like it's big enough, my guy, And sometimes it doesn't. Honestly, the fact is, let people view things the way that they can and want to. I think that is really the way to go. If you're gonna be hard-headed about it, then whatever, be my guest. Because why? There's gonna still be millions of dollars in it. Whatever.
Next question
comes from Mena. What up, Mena? The podcast king. He writes, have you seen Archive 81 yet? I have no clue what that is.
So that's a no from you. I've seen the first episode. It's a series on Netflix. I somewhat enjoyed the first episode. Then I gave up. I heard it's weird and interesting and sci-fi.
What is it?
It's about this dude who gets recruited to decipher these tapes that were damaged in a fire in this hotel, and he starts having a weird connection to this woman in the tapes, and it's from the tapes from 1994, and he's in current time. And so it starts involving some time travel and some, as far as I know, like a coven and a cult and some other stuff. And so, yeah, it's, another series on Netflix. I think they're thinking about a second season right now, but
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That's about all I can give you. And so there you go, Mena. That's what we got for that.
We'll move on to J Shep 831. They write, what's a cheat code that is stuck in your head? To this day, his cheat code that's stuck in his head is down, up, left, A, right, down, no Konami. I know the Konami code, up, down, left, right, BA, start.
I think they were saying don't, no Konami, and that's what there is. And I have no idea what that cheat code is that they did.
Me neither.
And beyond the Konami, I know nothing beyond like Street Fighter. I don't know if you call those cheat codes. I know pretty much every character on Street Fighter to this day, with no problem.
And I don't, and that's what's funny is I don't know the Konami code because I played it. Like that game, I know it because that's just geek pop culture,
down,
right?
down, left, right.
Yeah, it's just part of the code. At least if you're a millennial anyway, that's just part of the culture, and you just kind of learn it at some point.
Yeah.
I mean, I in the was it Super Mario like 3? Like, and I don't recall what board this is, but there's a board like there's a white square like in the middle of the sky, and if you duck on it long enough, it puts you like behind the scene. Like, you know how Super Mario games are 2D, right?
Yeah, I know it's
you're in front of the landscape. Well, this puts you behind the landscape, and then when you go to the end, you end up in the secret room with Toad, I think, and then you get the magical flute or some shit. Some shit go down. Some wild mushroom-induced shit go down, but it's not necessarily a code as much as it is just an action.
Yeah.
But everything else, I don't really know codes like that. Like, I just know like Easter eggs and things. Like, if you go in certain places or areas in certain games, but
I think
I
codes
don't know any other
went
codes.
out with like Game Shark and all that anyway. So after that, it became more Easter eggs. Oh, there's the Grand Theft Auto invincibility and like all guns code, but I don't know that shit. So next question. Yeah.
Next one comes from SCLNGA. Sorry that I didn't pronounce it as a name. I'm just reading what I'm reading.
Yep.
When I was a kid, I saw a comic with Spider-Man fighting someone in a museum with a big whale hanging from the ceiling. I was amazed by this thing and didn't think it was real. I later found out where this was, the American Museum of Natural History, and finally visited as an adult. What New York spots would you like to see featured in the MCU?
Man, I'm from Houston. That always tells me when people think, I don't know. Like,
well, a lot of stuff has already been featured in the MCU. Like New York itself, like the Avengers Tower is in New York. So, I mean,
I'd like to see more of Brooklyn. Like I'd like to see Fulton and Nostrand, but I would also like to see everything out of New York. That's also my other thing about the Avengers. Like the MCU, I'm not really one where I'm like it needs to be in New York, but if it is Brooklyn,
I agree with you.
Yeah,
that's my answer. If it has to be New York, it has to be Brooklyn as a borough, as a record label, and as a team.
Yep. Beyond that,
next,
I'm good. Yeah. Next question.
Next comes from Childress J. Happy New Year, fan family. Who would you cast to play Icon and Rocket in a live action film?
I'm never good at this. I'll still go with State Farm dude, even though I think, Blue.
Old as hell?
Yeah, he old as hell. I mean.
You mean the president?
Yeah, the president. Yeah, he definitely pushing. He can't.
And that's no disrespect. He's just.
I don't even know if he can do Blue Marvel anymore. Denzel.
Haven't we named people? Not Denzel. Why you keep going to these? You gotta go lower, like Jonathan Majors and lower.
But like Icon gotta be, very stately. Yeah, is the word. But also statuesque. So it's like, it's a tough one.
There aren't any. You can't think of any black men that fit that bill.
My man from Lupin, who I'm trying to cast and everything right now. Yeah. I mean, he big as hell and he can play, stately. I don't know if he can play Republican, but
Oof.
I mean, that's Icon. When you first meet Icon, that man is definitely all the way Clarence Thomas out.
Yikes.
All the way. Hardcore.
And then what about Rocket? I'm not sure which Rocket.
Oh, Rocket is his sidekick. So somebody, I don't know, man. I'm the worst at casting. Next question. Somebody dope. That's why I don't do this job, fam. Like, that's not my job.
Why? That's why you're not a casting director?
Fuck no. And that's why people don't understand how, like, that go back to recast T'Challa. They don't understand how difficult it is. They don't understand, like,
All right. The next one comes from Picture Me Roland. Welcome back. After we starved all 2020, Marvel made sure we ate good in 2021. They gave us 9 MCU projects, and I enjoyed every one of them. The reviews y'all have been doing on Views from the 616 have also made...
9 of them shits?
hey, the reviews that y'all have been doing in Views from 616 have also made everything more enjoyable. And thank you. Thank you. You always been supporting us, always there with us, Picture Me Rolling. So thank you for that. But they write, what order would you rank the 9 MCU movies and show us what it shows that we got in 2021? So wait, what are the 9? Like
I'm at 7.
Spider-Man Eternal.
Yeah.
Like you got to go backwards, right?
Yeah. Spider-Man Eternals, Hawkeye.
And shows.
Yeah, Hawkeye. What If?
Loki. WandaVision.
Falcon and Winter Soldier. Shang-Chi. Are we missing
one more?
Are we missing a show? Oh, Black
one
Widow.
more.
Was that
Black Widow movie?
Was that 2021? 2020? I think
Black Widow movie?
I think so.
I feel like that was 2021.
Yeah, I think it was.
This year's been so damn long.
All right, well, we gonna say it is. That's 9. All right. Oh, that's tough.
Yep, 2021 Black Widow.
All right, that's damn near impossible for me to rank them. Really.
Okay, instead of ranking on 9, because that is too much.
Yeah.
Do you have a top 2 or even a top 3?
Loki is in there.
Show wise, okay, let's break it down even further. Show, what's maybe your number 1 show out of all the Disney Plus shows? So we're talking about WandaVision, Loki, What If, Falcon and the Winter Soldier,
Hawkeye,
Loki's number 1. Oh, but What If?
I know.
Ooh, but What If?
And then I really enjoyed Hawkeye. I can't lie, man. I really enjoyed Hawkeye.
What If?
And WandaVision was really ill, yo. Like that was.
But I'm not. Now that everything is out, she's not getting top 1 for number 1 position. She's not getting pole position.
She might get 2 though, and she ain't number 1. Like that's
for me.
Top 2.
For me though, she's getting the 3rd slot because number 1 and number 2 is a battle to me.
Mm-hmm.
Because I want to say What If because just what if just the sheer imaginative expanse that show brought about. Like there's nothing like it. So that's why I'm like, God damn, that's just such a hard thing to beat. At the same time, Loki also did that and brought us He Who Remains. And when that but when that nigga showed up, I screamed, like jumped up and physically screamed. And I think I might have to put Loki number 1.
All right. I will because I've read the What If comic book since I was a kid. What If wasn't like some revelatory thing to me. You know what I mean? It was like I'd seen that done so much. It was dope seeing it as don't get me wrong, I love seeing it because What If is one of my favorite comics, but I knew the possibilities of that. And they lived up to it. WandaVision, I can't say other than shit like Legion, which is even iller really to me. I've never seen something like WandaVision on TV. So that's why I put it maybe number 1 and then Loki number 2 and then, I don't know, however they all fall out after that. Right. All them shits were fire. Eternals.
Now what about the film?
Eternals. Eternals and then...
I'm with you. But Shang-Chi.
But Spider-Man, No Way Home.
Well, sorry, Spider-Man. Like Spider-Man counts as 2021.
Yeah, so Spider-Man counts. Yeah.
So Spider-Man's number 1. Then I would
Eternals.
See, 2. The second slot is a fight for me.
It ain't a fight for me. It's Eternals.
I might have to go with Eternals for number 2, and then Shang-Chi for number 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Black Widow is still a dope movie. Yeah,
it's fine, but we're doing top 3 right now.
Yeah,
so.
but and on some days I'll put Eternals above Spider-Man just because Eternals was really, some ill shit to me. Like the Celestials and stuff like that is just like some of my, core love of Marvel Universe. So to see the big red god in the sky was like, I'm good.
That shit was fucking wild. Like I'm still thinking about how fucking wild that shit. A whole nigga was born out the planet, and now he's just in the ocean. Okay, I'm sorry. We're just digressing back to when I was sitting there mind blown, sitting next to Ben. I mean, like, what the fuck is happening?
I was loving it. All right,
no, I literally said, "Hey yo, what the fuck?" But let's go to the next question. This one is from Patreon. This comes from Low Key Worldwide. They write, "Hey, I have a guac question. Back when video games didn't make me dizzy, I loved Halo. I'm cautiously excited about the new show, the Halo show. The most painful moment in that game was when the Pelican Echo 419 got shot down. It was piloted by Carol Fohammer Rawley. The character is obviously a black woman and shows up to help throughout the game. Anyway, that loss still hurts. What's your most painful video game memory? Fun fact, Fohammer was voiced by Dr. Tanya Pettiford Waits, PhD. She's a professor of theater at Virginia Commonwealth University. Thanks for all you do, and it's always a joy to hear your voices. Oh, thank you, Loki.
Thank you.
Appreciate your questions. What's your most painful video game memory?
Actually, one of them is Halo, the Reach game. Like that game is rough, man. Like just everybody, your whole crew takes L's. And I didn't realize that till like about halfway through the game that was going to happen. But I will say it's been more in the last few years where I've really been playing games where I've been like hurt. And the three are God of War.
I knew you was going to say that. Yep.
Yeah, there's a couple moments in that one, but the first one when you leave your son outside of this thing and then you go into this like different world and you're looking for your dead wife, and then you come out and your son is drawn through a really traumatic experience, and I was like damn near in tears. The first Spider-Man game for PS4, I don't want to spoil it for those who haven't played it yet, but it literally, I mean, I cried, you know. And then just last year, and the most surprising one for me, and then I was so happy to see it get the recognition, was the Guardians of the Galaxy game. Yo, I bawled. Like,
really?
Yes, bawled out, dog. I mean, you know, my mother passed, and you know, Peter is always dealing with things with his mother passing, and there's a lot of that in the game, and I bawled out. Yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy, it won best storytelling at like the game, one of the big gaming award shows, and I fully agree with it. It's like one of the best storytelling things that I've played in a long time. It's so good. Guardians of the Galaxy is an incredible game.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with you when you said God of War. That's the one I was thinking about.
Oh yeah, I bawled out.
That's tragic.
Boy, the whole Atreus on him, oh my God, their relationship has me, yeah.
Oh man. Okay. The next comes from Tom the Pale Boy, who is Tom the Fanboy. Tom the Fanboy be in the Twitch chats all the time. Thank you so much for your support, Tom.
Yep.
He has a couple things here, or three things here. You get to pick one person from the last 150 years living or dead to interview on the podcast. Who would it be? Octavia Butler.
Prince.
All right. What piece of media from the last 20 years do you show that? Oh, what piece of media from the last 20 years do you show that person for a discussion topic? Lovecraft Country. I would show that to Octavia Butler.
I might show that to Prince too.
All right. And what would that person's AKA be?
I'm not doing the disrespect like that.
I can't do that. Yeah, Octavia. I don't want to disrespect my elders, so I ain't gonna do that.
Yeah.
Even though I say that, and then one of my cases, Beretta Scott King.
Yeah.
But that's not here nor there. I don't have it, so we answered most of them. And the other part is, out of all the AKAs you all have used out of the show so far, what is your best AKA? What is your worst AKA?
I also know Prince loved comedy. I know he loved New Girl, so I might show him the Saved by the Bell remake because I'm fucking in love with that right now. And it's like the funniest thing I've seen. Okay. Or The Good Place. Oh my God, yeah.
The Good Place is a good one.
Yeah, especially because
for Prince.
Yeah, but man, I don't know. That'd be interesting. Yeah. What'd you say? What is
your best AKA out of all the AKAs you use? What do you believe is your best, and what do you believe is your worst?
I don't know. I think all mine are pretty good. Yeah.
I think all mine are good. Like the ones that
we leave
the worst. I never use them.
We leave the bad ones out, dog. Trust.
Yeah. And Ben and I, we often like bounce the ideas to each other, like, yo, is this whack? And it's like, if we're not really feeling, or we'll try to like tweak it a bit. But yeah, and anything that we feel like is worse, we're probably not even including it. However, that to me seems like y'all think we have some worse ones. Yes. So I would love to hear what y'all think are our best and worst AKAs. Hit us up on the socials for all nerds. Next question comes from Riz at the Rizdun. Okay, this is three-part. Have either of y'all thought about having articles and reviews coming back for the main site? No! And there's a very easy reason why I said no so fast and so ridiculously. Because it requires staff. And staff require money. Now, of course, there are people out there who just want to do it for the love of the culture. That's amazing. Appreciate that. But articles also require editing. And I had, for years, had been editor-in-chief of the site, and I'm only one person, which means I had to sit there and edit. At the time, I think it was like 5-6 writers. I had to go there and edit and do scheduling and all this other stuff. And it's not easy. We talk about how much work goes into a podcast. Imagine trying to do that and run an article-based website. It's just not it. Yeah. So, 2, once the show gets partnered on Twitch, is there any possibility y'all will start a team of affiliated streamers?
Why not?
Why not?
We would do that right now. We already have that now.
Right. We already have a couple of people on there.
And actually, Riz Don was helping me with my stream. So if you're interested in, like joining us as a affiliate or whatever, hit us up. We're always looking for people to stream on our channel or for us to host their channel, and vice versa.
Right. And 3, is Riz Al Ghul a good AKA, or do I need to think a little more?
Keep working.
You know what? It's not a bad AKA, but people have to know you, right? Like and this is I'll give y'all a little tidbit. The trick to AKAs is generally speaking, anyone can understand it or get it.
Yes.
They don't have to necessarily be specialized in that, comic or anime or whatever it's based on. Obviously that makes it much easier and it makes it much more funny or whatever, but if it's more universal, the better you are with it. And unless you're like, some super famous person, I don't think people would even understand what the Riz part even means.
Yeah, so. Versus Roz. That's a problem.
Yeah. And even Rosh or Ray Shagul, depending on how you want to pronounce it, that's not really super mainstream either.
No.
I mean, you haven't seen him technically since Nolan's Batman. So if you're talking about live action things like the mainstream would see. So, yeah. It'll probably work like just as a Twitter name because there's,
there you go.
I'm sure that everyone who follows you and people you follow understand that. So it's fine.
Yep.
Okay. We just have a few more to go. Cecilia, they, Chaotic Rambler. What are your biggest goals for this year as podcasters? Or if you had an unlimited budget, what new craft or skill would you take up trying to learn for fun? Our biggest goals is to win and expand the team and come up with a new format that makes a lot of sense and makes you all happy.
And also to get paid.
And to get paid.
Yeah. Paid in full.
And if you had an unlimited budget, what new craft or skill would you try to take up to learn for fun? What would you take up, Ben?
I want to work on making beats and playing piano.
I want to work on, I could do that now. I just don't, I'm not balancing it right, but I would like to finish learning how to DJ.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would too.
See?
I would like to finish learning how to DJ.
I gotta finish learning.
I would like to finish learning myself.
And when I say finish learning, clearly there's no end to learning. It's just like the basics. I gotta get that down first.
Yeah. So do I sometimes. So fuck it.
But and also producing music. That's gonna happen because I always wanted to produce music.
Yep.
All right. Philip Winslow writes, I need your thoughts on Yellow Jackets, one of the year's best genre series.
I
ain't watch it, fam.
I couldn't finish the first episode. And Philip, I love you, but no, it's not that it's bad. I just lost interest. It's actually very good. There were some things that made me laugh, etc. It tried a lot of mix and genres. I wouldn't consider it genre. I get it's a genre, but when I think genre, I think, at least in terms of For All Nerds, I think sci-fi, fantasy, comic, it's more like white people killing each other for the most part. I think there's one black girl. Yeah, but certain things are two things. One, when people say need from us, I know they love us and all that, but my anxiety goes through the roof. Two, we don't see everything, and certain things I don't really care for because I'm just like darkness. I don't need to see, as we were discussing earlier with the Batman. And I watched about half of the pilot, and I was like, yo, this is dark, and there was some dark shit happening in the pilot. I'm like, all right, I'm good. So that's pretty much my feelings on it.
Darkness
is
spreading. All right.
Next question.
And The last question comes from Maze.
Yes.
It's been too long since you've been gone. All right. What's
That's
good,
my
fam?
jam, yo.
That shit still goes so hard.
Yes.
To this day. What's good, fam? Or should I say Aunt Tati and Uncle Ben? I'm scared to call you Uncle Ben because of the connotations of Uncle Ben.
I've also been Uncle Ben for a long time. You
Yeah.
know, shout out Maze, but I've been that.
Glad y'all are back for 2K22. Baby Juju loves you. That is Maze's new baby. Hi, baby Juju. Is Maze, aka Ja Rule. Maze, come on, man. AKA
Is that like
Big Daddy.
is that like a Euphoria reference?
I think so.
Oof. That is
AKA
ass, dog.
I'm so happy that we're back here. We're back in this space where Ben Hameen goes in on Maze's AKAs.
Oh man, I ain't even watched the new season, and now I don't even want to.
Then you're gonna hate the next one, Big Daddy Maze. AKA.
Well, I don't get it. Like Big Daddy Kane, or I mean, because now you're a daddy.
Because he's a big daddy. But
all right, I mean.
Next one, Chew Block.
But yeah, this man been having too many late nights with this THs. He definitely ain't been working on these AKAs.
The last two, the first one, I think we've heard of both of these and they're good. Easy Ewok.
Yeah, that's not bad.
And Bruce Wayans.
That's not good.
As in the Wayans brother. He said that's not good. It's not terrible.
Yeah, but it's not good.
Well,
yeah.
Hope everyone is doing well. I got a couple of questions. One, happy Black History Month. I'm black, y'all. I'm black, y'all.
I'm black, y'all.
I said that, not Maze. I just want to throw that in there because he put up the emoji fist. But anyway, with that said, can you remember what was the first thing you were ever taught about our history, whether it was inside or outside of school? Let me answer that real quick. Everything I learned about Black history, I learned outside of school, and largely when I was older than when I should have been taught it in the first place.
I think it was for me being called nigger for the first time is when that's when I started learning about it. That's when I was like,
that'll do it.
Yeah, because I was like, oh wait, there's a difference.
Or going inside a toy store with your little brother, like being like 7 and 4 at the time, respectively, and just being followed in the store.
Oof.
Or maybe we're a little bit older, but still just being followed in the store and like, why the white man following me, mommy? We weren't doing anything.
Oh well. Yeah. Nigger came around like 10 or 9, I think. I caught my first L when a teacher kicked me out of like the AP English, like the advanced placement English.
And why did you get kicked out?
Because I was black. This was my feeling on it because
I mean, I don't mean to laugh at it, but the way you said, because I was black.
I was clearly like, advanced placement English. I was reading and writing at a superior level to all these other kids, especially the rest of these white boys in that shit. And they booted me out, and I was like, oh no, y'all ain't even half of my level. And that was like the first time when I was like, oh wait, I'm black and I get it,
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the last part of the question.
This is elementary school for the record.
Elementary school. Okay. I'm about to say, well, damn. Also, when it comes to views from the 616, would you ever consider doing a full films?
Yeah. Would we ever consider ranking? Like doing a special where we rank all of them joints. I mean,
of all of the Infinity Saga.
Maybe. Yeah. That's an idea.
I'll ask the question later. Okay, I was just like, what? What do you mean by not get it? Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
fine.
You say what?
When he says Infinity Saga, what is he referring to? Not just those two.
Oh no, that's what they're calling it now. That's what Marvel's official name for everything leading up to the Infinity War and Endgame is the Infinity Saga.
That's the memo I missed.
Okay. Yeah, you missed that one. Yeah, that's how they're like. You can buy the DVD set, the Infinity Saga, with everything in it now.
Y'all still buying DVDs? Huh?
Yo,
physical media will never die.
Yo, your boy Maze right there, fam. You just slandered him. You don't even know it. That
I didn't mean to slander you. No, I'm just saying
that man.
Well, no, physical media will never die. I love real books too. So.
I love real books and vinyl behind me. Of all that, but I never got.
I don't have DVDs.
Yeah, I never got that one. I
don't have DVDs, bro.
They're digital at that point. It's like it doesn't. It's like having a CD to me. It's like
streaming, my guy streaming. But also I know like there is the and they're not wrong. Like the subset of people who are like, well, they want the physical media because then they have true ownership over the thing. Like if you streaming absolutely everything, then all you gotta do is pull a plug and you no longer have access. I get it, but
there's sites for that,
quote sites, wink sites, right? Okay. Just a disclaimer: For All Nerds did not condone piracy or anything.
No, I said sites. You pay for some of them.
Moving on. Thank you, everyone, for your guac questions. If you have questions for us, Ben, and myself, be it about geek culture, pop culture, or anything in between, hit us up at contact@forallnerds.com. That's through the email if you want some privacy or you have a relatively longer question. Otherwise, you're going to hit us up on the socials at For All Nerds. And on Patreon, you can also anytime ask us questions there. Patreon.com/forallnerds. Again, the Patreon is where you become a financial member of the Fan Fam. It is because of you that this show is still running strong. It's because of you that we have an amazing staff, and that it will be because of you that we're able to grow. So hit us up, join any tier you like. Every tier is special. The more the merrier. Again, patreon.com/forallnerds. And since we're talking about finances, make sure you hit us up on the merch page. That's tpublic.com/stores with an S/forallnerds. That's where you get all our incredible, dope merch that goes on damn near anything you could think of. Masks, books, t-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, whatever. You see me wearing the Wong Was Right special edition tee. Ben, he has on a different tee, but that's okay. We also do have a Storm t-shirt, however.
Yes, we do.
That was drawn by Sketch Sawyer. Storm on a motorbike, Mohawk Storm on a motorbike that's up there, along with some other incredible designs. Again, tpublic.com/stores/forallnerds. If you're part of the Patreon, you get special privileges on the stores. Y'all know what we're talking about. So go ahead and get up on that. And make sure you're following us. As Ben said, follow For All Nerds on all your favorite social media platforms. Follow Views from 616 on Twitter to get your MCU Marvel fix. Follow myself at Tatiana King. Follow me on all the platforms. Follow me on IG if you want to see my thirst traps. That's what I do on there, all right? Follow DJ Benhameen on his favorite social media platforms. What you gotta say? Which one? What you be doing, Ben? You be posting thirst traps? You don't be posting thirst traps.
I don't even be posting.
You don't even be posting.
You might catch me in a fly suit or something on my Instagram. But you should usually follow me on Twitter for my wry observations.
And the rants. You gotta come for the rants.
I don't really rant too much anymore.
When niggas is tripping.
Yeah, but
talking about those rants.
Yeah, but it's been a long time. It's been a minute. I'm cool. I'm chillax.
Cool as a cucumber.
Yep. Cooler than a polar bear's toenails. Happy birthday, big boy.
It's time to go.
Hey, man, big boy.